It's October 2020, new format, so time for a new deck profile of Ritual Control, so let's get to it. So I've been getting a lot of requests for an updated deck profile of my Ritual Control deck for the new format. People really seem to like this deck, and people have been saying that they've been using it. They made a few changes of their own, and someone even said it's the deck they've gotten their most victories with online. So that's pretty neat. It's been doing pretty well against the current meta, especially if you go first. But let's just get to the chase here, and I'll show you why this works so well. So for the Ritual monsters, we're going to start off with 3 Incantation Chalice Slime. This is the heart and soul of the deck. You want to see this card as soon as possible. You reveal him, you can ditch a card, and you special summon an incantation from your deck. Next is probably the best card outside of the Chalice Slime, the Tongue Twister. I just call it the Drake Overlord. For more for pain, the Imagination Drake Overlord. I've been using this card for over a year now in my Chaos Max build. It's a level 8 dragon, but this guy can be searched out with the Incantation Engine, and if you go first and get this guy out, your opponent must skip their main phase 1. And any fusion, synchro, and XC monster your opponent special summons basically are turned off. They don't get any effects, and apparently people forget this because I still play online. People still get their monsters out. They're all turned off, and they're, what the hell's going on? And apparently this card is gaining popularity because people are telling me the price has been going up. So people are discovering this card, and they're recognizing the value as they should, because super underrated, extremely useful now in this format because everyone is all about the Fusion, XC, and Synchro spam due to Master Rule 5. So yes, if you're running any form of Ritual deck, get this card. I promise you, you're not going to regret it. Next is the Good Baron and the Dare Baroness. Now, on my old build, I used 2 Baron, Shino Baron Peacock. I reduced it to 1 for now, simply because they're spirit monsters. So at the end phase, they're going to go back to your hand and be replaced with 2 tokens. So it's reusable, it's going back to your hand, and even if it goes to the graveyard, you can use your Incantation Engine to recover it from the grave and keep getting it out. So once he hits the field, you can return up to 3 of your opponent's monsters back to their hand or extra deck, non-targeting. And the Baroness, when she hits the field, she can select up to 3 of your opponent's back row cards and shuffle them back into the deck. Again, non-targeting, and even if they were to try to bounce her back, her effect goes off first, which is crazy. Next is Reshif, I hope I pronounced that right, the Dark Being. This is a level 8 Light Fiend, and what this does is, this is basically your change of heart for the deck. So if you special summon this guy, all you gotta do is discard 1 magic card from your hand, send it to the grave, which can be your Incantation Inception, which is fine because you can recur back from the grave to your hand. But this is also non-targeting. I looked up the errata to make sure it's non-targeting. You just pick one of your opponent's monsters. It's kind of like the Borreload dragon. It takes control of a monster, and it's not targeting. It's only until the end phase, but you know what? Sometimes that's all you really need. So if your opponent has a very problematic monster, and you want to get rid of it, take control of it. You can use it to attack into your opponent's monster, into your opponent. You could use their effect. Depending on the level, you can even use it as ritual fodder. Odd Eyes Gravity Dragon, he is still in this deck. He is just that good. I actually use this card more often than the Baroness, because once he hits the field, he returns all your opponent's back row cards, magic and trap cards, back to their hand. But the trick is here, they cannot respond to it. People try, but they can't. So he's pretty much a guarantee to go off. If you can get 2 or try to fit 2 in there, you can. He's really good, but again, with the system, if it goes to the graveyard, you can get him back into your hand. Another kicker is, as long as he's on the field, your opponent must pay 500 life points to activate a card effect. So yeah, people try to get rid of this guy as soon as they can. 1 Chaos Max Dragon. I got the gold rare. It's funny, I have all these Chaos Max Dragon cards, but I never had a gold rare, so boom, I got it. Some people have told me that they replaced this guy when they built this deck, which is perfectly fine. The only reason why I kept him in there is because he's a 4000 beast stick, and he has very good protection. He cannot be targeted and cannot be destroyed, and there's a lot of monsters out there that is what they do. So I don't get this guy out every time, but it depends on what my opponent's playing. If they're playing something that has a lot of those kind of effects, get him out. And he, you know, people still struggle to get around him. You know, 4000 attack, that is still really crazy in today's game. So if you want to replace him, definitely go ahead, but at least side deck him, because once this guy, sometimes when this guy comes out, my opponents just have like, they have to change their strategy just to get around this guy. 1 Servarius, the Ancient and the Ascendant, level 7, so he can be searched off your Preparation of Rites, along with your incantation system. He's a very good hand trap. If you have any of your monsters out, if they were to be targeted by anything, just discard this guy and your monster is protected. He also has a really good ritual effect. Once he's on the field, if your opponent were to special summon a monster or monsters, you can use this effect to banish those monsters instead. So, you know, that can be pretty tricky. So yeah, he is a really good monster to have. Last ritual monster, Cyber Angel Benton. Yes, the reason why I have this card is because if you use her as a tribute material to get your monsters out, you can search your deck for a fairy monster, and I have a few fairy monsters that can be used with this effect. Okay, regular monsters. So the first fairy monster is Vanity's Ruler. People just scoop most of the time when I get this guy out. Very easy to special summon. Getting out multiple monsters with the incantation system is no big deal. So just tribute summon Vanity's Ruler and bam, your opponent will not be able to special summon any monsters, but you still can. 2 Manju of the 10,000 Hands. If you normal summon this guy, you can search your deck for a ritual monster or a magic card. If you can squeeze 3 in there, you can, but remember, you only get 1 normal summon, and sometimes you might have a tough choice of choosing between these guys. So you don't want to have too many normal summons with this, but you know, they're not all going to be packed into your hand, but you know, just make the wise decision. Speaking of normal summons, 3 Zaborg, the Mega Monarch. You'll probably recognize this guy from my older builds of Chaos Max. Now, this guy is insane, so you need 2 tributes to get this guy out. Now, the key with this guy here is you want to make sure that at least one of the monsters is a light monster, and that's where you get the full effect. Once he's on the field, you can use this effect to target himself. You can target another monster, but trust me, it's worth your while to target himself. Destroy himself and send to the graveyard. Because he's a level 8, what you do is you take 8 up to 8 of your monsters from your extra deck, and you send it to the graveyard. And if one of the monsters that was used as a tribute is a light monster, you get to choose your opponent, which cards from your opponent's extra deck to send to the graveyard. If you do not use a light monster, then your opponent gets to pick. But so, like, this can be devastating. All decks now are extremely side deck heavy. If you choose the right monsters from the extra deck to send to the grave, that can be a win condition. Some people just scoop, and especially with Dragoon, Red Eyes, Darkness Dragoon being on the loose, that is going to be a good card to target. So the only unfortunate thing with this guy is not searchable, but you know what? I've played a few games, and he comes up more often than you might think. Alright, next is the Incantation Engine. So this is the ratio I've done for this new build. I am using 3 talismans this time. Used to be 2, I'm using 3 now because there have been times where I had 2 of these in my hand and I could not do my monster search. Searching your monster is critical, so I'm putting 3 talismans in, but I'm still leaving only 2 candles to search the magic card. Reason for this is once you use the magic card, getting it back into your hand is extremely easy with the rest of this engine. 3 Bookstone. Once you use him, you can get the magic from the grave to your hand, so he's more important technically than the candle. And 3 Pencils. This allows you to get the ritual monster from your grave to your hand, so hence is why it's not that big a deal to have only 1 Shino Bird Baron. Okay, for magic, we're going to have 3 Pop Extravagance for the draw power. Your extra deck, you're almost never going to use it. It's mainly there for your as a Borg effect. But so ditching 6 or 12 is not going to be that big a deal. So draw 2 cards. 3 Preparation of Rites. I think I had only 2 in the last build, but 3, very good. You activate this, you can add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand. So that includes your Chalice Slime, Savarius, your Odd Eyes, and your Cyber Angel Benton. And if you happen to have a ritual magic card into the grave, you can add that to your hand. So hence why only having 2 candles is good enough. 3 Incantation Inception. You want to see this card as much as possible. And the best thing about this is also reusable. So if you use one of these, it goes to the grave. You can use its own effect to send an incantation from your hand or field to the grave, get this back to your hand, and if you send a pencil plume, for example, to the grave, you can actually use your Chalice Slime as the cost. And once you special summon the pencil plume to your field, you can get that Chalice Slime back. So that is a really nifty combo you can do with this to have your magic cards and keep using your incantations. I'm still using Shinobird's Calling because we do have 2 of them. This can be used to ritual summon your Baron and Baroness. And the great thing about this is that you can use levels that equal or exceed, which to me is very important. That's a great thing about this ritual deck. You don't have to worry about having the exact correct number of levels to ritual summon your monster. Equal or exceed is the name of the game. So I'm still using 2 Shinobird's Calling. If you want to replace them, you can, but I still recommend these because I'm still using the pre-preparation of rites. If you open up with a hand that has a bunch of incantations, but you have a pre-preparation of rites, you can at least search out a Shinobird's Calling plus one of the, either Baron or Baroness, and then guaranteed that allows you to use the incantation system and continue to search whatever ritual monsters and magic cards you want. Okay, extra deck. So first things first, I got my lovely tokens. These are my Shinobird tokens. Use anything as tokens, but I decided to make these to make it easier. To level 4 wind, 1500 attack and defense. It's just easier for my opponents when they see them. Oh, okay, that's the actual value. So yeah, they're pretty nice. Okay, so the extra deck, this is where Zaborg, the Mega Monarch, comes in. So we're going to have 3 Herald of the Arclight. Once you send this to the grave, it allows you to search your deck for a ritual, monster, or magic card. 3 Elder Entity Natis. When this hits the graveyard, you can destroy 1 card on your opponent's side of the field. So it could be a monster, it could be a back row. 3 Wind Pegasus Nigster. Okay, when this is in the graveyard, once per turn, if your opponent were to destroy a monster with a card effect, you can use the effect to basically shuffle one of your opponent's cards back into their deck. So yeah, when I heard about this, so I think at least someone in the comments recommended this card to me, and I read it. I said, wow, you're right, this is really neat. So yes, another great card to send to the to the grave with your Zaborg. Nightmare package, so Nightmare Unicorn, Cerberus, and Phoenix. You're not going to use these at all. I've only used them once because I had a game where the opponent just flooded my my field with rose tokens, and yeah, I was able to link them off into these guys. And of course, there are occasions that your opponent may negate the effects of all your incantations. So if they do that, you're free to link off into these as much as you want. And the last 3 cards, nothing special. Borlo Dragon, Tornado Dragon, and number 41. Now, my personal recommendation is if you're able to, replace these with the Fossil Warrior Skull Knight. That's what I would do. Unfortunately, I do not have them. I do use them in White Go Pro when I go online, and they're crazy. Basically, what happens is when they hit the graveyard, once per turn, you can banish the Fossil Warrior, and you can destroy one of your opponent's cards. But the only problem is they're really difficult and they're expensive to get a hold of. So that is a goal I have. I want to get 3 of those Fossil Knights and replace these 3 with those. So basically, when it comes to Zaborg the Mega Monarch, depending on what's left on in your extra deck due to the effect of Pop Extravagance, send any combination of these along with a Fossil Knight, and that'll give you more control. Definitely send these guys first if you can, because it gives you more searches in your deck to summon more monsters, ritual monsters. And these guys just allows you to pop off, bounce, and destroy cards that your opponent has. Now the side deck is nothing very special, is due to the lack of organized play. But what I have in here for now is 3 Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode. It's just really good to get rid of any pop-up monsters, especially with Dragon Links, pumping out all the negate boards. Lots of back row hate here. Cosmic Cyclone, 3 Twin Twisters, and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, because it is legal. Things are getting back row heavy now, so that's going to be very useful. And of course, there are some back row cards that can really cripple this deck, so these are very important. 3 Royal Decrees. I always say if you play a deck that doesn't use, that uses little to no traps, Royal Decree is amazing. It can really help out with the Eldritch deck, anything that has a lot of traps. And 3 Deck Ruler No More, because it's just a staple now. All of these negate boards, and just for the hell of it, I kept the Necros of Unicorn. It was main decked, but I got it in the side deck for now because, well, you never know. Depending what your opponent's playing, if they're playing a lot of crippling effective link monsters, he can negate their effects. So depending what your opponent's playing, you can put this guy in. He is searchable with a Preparation of Rites, Incantation System, easy to ritual summon out, and bam, all of the extra deck monsters are turned off. So he is very nifty for that. Now there is one card that is missing, I'm sure that you've noticed, and that would be the Big Rock himself, Amano Iwato. He used to be in the main deck, but I did remove him. Now this is a card, if you want to, you can easily side deck. You can probably remove the Necros, one of the back row hates with this guy. This guy is really a hit or miss, and personally in my games, I haven't really used him a lot. If he's in your hand and you use the effect of the Baron, you can special summon him from your hand, ignoring the conditions, and he will stay on the field because as a spirit he's supposed to return. And if you use the effect of the Baroness, you can special summon him, ignoring the conditions, from your deck to the field. So as long as he's on the field, your opponent cannot use any monster effects, which is crazy. But at the same time, like, he's only a 1900 attack, and this affects you as well. The only monsters that can use effects are spirit monsters. So in order to get a full effect of this guy, I think you would really need to make the deck more spirit focused and have more Baron or Baronesses, which you can, like if you want to add more of these guys and the ritual cards, like definitely go ahead, just tweak it, to however you like it. But that's just me though. So yeah, if you really think that, my god, you can't take this guy out, you gotta put him back in, definitely do it. So, or at least side deck him. But yeah, so that is the updated profile for my Ritual Control deck. What do you think? What would you change and what would you tweak? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, remember to be a good sport, play the game, not the fame. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe and click on the little bell for notifications. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or join my Discord. I also play online on Duel Links, Edo Pro, and Dueling Nexus. Links and user information are in the description below. Keep dueling and have fun.